single day. I'm gonna make something great.
Hey guys, what's poppin'? It's Madam X. This is Frequency Real Radio. You already know. So, let's do a little car chat because I'm in the car going to the store and all of this rain. I know some areas, it's been so much rain today, guys. It's been ridiculous, and it's basically been pretty much heavy rain all day, and I'm sure some parts of Baltimore are flooded, or the DMV. I guess it's probably raining across the DMV right now. So it's just ridiculous out here. I didn't even feel like coming out to go to the store. So anyway, we're gonna do, you guys know it's the eclipse coming up, the lunar eclipse, the longest lunar eclipse, I believe, in like the last century or something like that. That's coming up. So I think it's gonna last about an hour and a half or more, something close to that. And of course, eclipses are like phases. They phase something out, phase something in. I also think, especially with a lunar eclipse, lunar and solar to me, but because lunar is the moon and its emotions, maybe there's some like raw emotions. There are some things there that you haven't quite dealt with. And I'm sorry for the background noise if you hear all that noise. It's just the rain. So, they kind of phase. And with the lunar, you may find that you're dealing with emotions and things like that. And maybe finally putting some old things from the past to rest, dealing with maybe emotions you haven't dealt with, and then just moving on to a better place in a better phase in whatever area of life that this eclipse is happening for you. And when we do the 2-card reading, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you for a little bit while I go to the store, and then when I get back home, I'm going to pause this and I'm just going to start another recording and piece these together and do the reading. So I'm going to do 2 cards for every sign, and we'll talk about what house, we'll relate it to what houses the eclipses are happening in for you. And remember that these tie in, even though this lunar eclipse is coming up because it's going to be on the 27th, it falls in Leo. The Cancer eclipse are kind of ushering these two in, and like I talk about, it was a Cancer partial solar eclipse, but it was on the axis of Cancer and Capricorn. So a lot of you may be dealing with things that relate to your home or your family, or both. So maybe struggles between the two, or if it is in a push and pull or something that you got to figure out, okay, well, what balance do I strike between home and family? Where do I want to go in my career? Or, am I really truly where I want to be? What do I need to do for that? And at the same time, how do I, is it asking for me to sacrifice my emotions, think more logically, or really take the lead, and things like that? And then where does the family, where does the home, where are the ones that are close to me kind of come into play with this? So for the lunar eclipse on the 27th, so I think those themes are still going to play into these things that are going on into 2020. So even though we're moving into the Aquarius and Leo, lunar eclipse is happening in Aquarius, but that's on the Aquarius and Leo axis. And then there's going to be another Leo solar, there's going to be a Leo solar eclipse. I think it's around the 11th of August. So that's still going to be on the Leo and Aquarius axis, but it's the sun, it's the solar eclipse, so it's going to be happening in Leo in August. So for the lunar eclipse, you're still going to see those themes of the Cancer and Capricorn playing to this eclipse as well. And before I get into it, I wanted to talk really quick about being stupid. You guys know being stupid is a choice. And we are all stupid sometimes. And we're going to do a lot of talk topics because there's so many things that I see that I want to comment my opinion or my take on, but I just don't make the time to get around and do the videos and dedicate, to the videos to put them up on YouTube. But it was a funny post. It was so funny to me. You guys know how those Cardi B memes are going around, like my mama said. Well, I follow I follow but I follow some of the more prominent people in the YouTube community, and what you may want to call the quote unquote conscious community. It's not a conscious community, it's just the YouTube community, and everybody's got their things that they're into. Some people who are into information, some people who are into tarot, some people are into beauty, some people show you how to cook, some people do hot topics and show reviews. So I don't like to call it the conscious community. Maybe we'll call it the informational community. So I follow your Umar Johnson. I don't know if he took his Instagram down, but your Tariq Nasheed, your Red and Blue Pills, your Pharaohs, your Studies, Polite, all that kind of stuff. Even though they all are or were at war with each other at one point or another, I don't give a shit. I'm not on nobody's team. I'm not on nobody's gang. You won't catch me under nobody's comments, giving them a hand job or anything like that. If they say something good and they got information, that's great. If they do like some fuck shit, then that's great too, because I don't believe in, I don't look at none of them people as nothing but a man and a human being. So young Pharaoh had posted a funny ass post, one of the Cardi B memes. And if you guys want to see it, you got to go on Pharaoh's Instagram or look up the picture or whatever the case. But it was the Cardi B meme, and it was like it had Cardi B, and then it had like Nature Boy in the meme, and it was saying, my mama said your girlfriend left you because she caught you, or your wife left you because she caught you texting another nigga or something like that. And when I tell y'all, I just had to crack up. Number one, because them Cardi B memes is a trip, because that really does look like a my mama said picture. And when I saw that Pharaoh one, the one Pharaoh put up with Nature Boy, it was hilarious. And it was hilarious because, like I said, when people give good information, that's great. When people do fuck shit, that's great, because I'm not invested in anybody more than just being a human being. You take what you can take, and you leave the rest alone. But I find it, and this is just not the only situation. There are many situations like this. This is just one thing I'm talking about because I saw it today and it was funny. It was either today or yesterday and it was funny. When people see people do something, like I really have an issue with this cult-like following. People who follow people and don't let the person's behavior dictate whether that person is whether you're going to still follow that person. Like blind leadership, blind following. You just follow somebody, and no matter what you hear about them or no matter what comes out about them, you just continue to be ignorant. And I'm telling you, social media is this generation. I'm telling you, there's a movie, and I know I've mentioned this in my videos before, but I'm gonna have to go buy that movie. Like it's just that much so worth it. The movie Idiocracy, because it's really moving with all the intelligence and the ways that you can learn and gain knowledge out here, and with all the social media that actually makes information more prevalent and more accessible, people have gotten stupid, dumber, and I'm really, and this is not, I'm not saying that I have my times when I do stupid or dumb things. I'm not saying this is I'm exempt of any of this, but it's a level to it, and some people are just, it's just crazy. And I feel like that's the way the world is like it is, and why things don't change, because people do not have the mindset and don't even realize when they've been brainwashed or are they being mind controlled. And we talk about this whole government mind control, but people are mind controlled by other human beings, because people just follow people and with no thought to it. And I'm just gonna speak really quick on this Pharaoh Nature Boy thing, because at the end of the day, I really don't give too much of two shits about either or, you know what I mean? Like I said, but Pharaoh has good information. He's a little full of himself, but he's a Virgo, so what else do you expect? That Mercury is working overtime, and Mercury doesn't travel too far from the sun. So I don't know what Pharaoh's Mercury sign is, but I'm willing to bet. It just seems like it's a fire one to me, and if he doesn't have a fire Mercury, maybe it's in Virgo as well. I definitely don't think it's like a Libra Mercury or anything like that. It's either in that Scorpio, Sag, or Leo, or Virgo. the Mercury. I don't know, but just by his personality. But then when you talk about Nature Boy, who is a Taurus, I find it crazy how, because I don't have no issue with Nature Boy. All of these people have good information. I thought some things were janky about what was going on, but I don't care. I'm not there. Whoever chooses to go over and follow Nature Boy, that's what they want to do. That's great. But then not too long ago when the video came out, it was like some guy on a table with a white guy. Basically, it's like homosexual type porn or whatever the case. The white guy was like fingering him in his butt and giving a butt exam, and like a perverted male exam. You know how when they go to the doctors, put their hand on your balls and tell you to cough. It was like a perverted version of an exam, and it was this homosexual kind of thing with this white guy. And while if Nature Boy was not trying to spit information and give information and things like that, if he wasn't doing all of that stuff, I mean, who would really care? I mean, that's his. People make mistakes, people do things, they do make mistakes, and if that's something he did and it got out, then it is what it is. I mean, if he's gay or whatever, or if he likes to get finger popped by white males, old males, I mean, who cares about what does that have to do with that's his life, that he has to deal with, and he has to carry his own burdens. But my thing is, he's out here trying to be a teacher and everything like that. And I've just saw people under that post that Pharaoh put up, and it was just some comments like, but how do we know he's gay? Or, Nature Boy's teaching he's not picking on other people and shit like that. And I'm like, how the fuck stupid can people be? And then people complain about the way, especially black people, they complain about racism, or they complain about how they're treated, or they complain about certain things that go on, but we choose to be ignorant. We choose to continue to accept certain behavior, to excuse certain behavior, and that is just unexcusable. And it makes you like the very thing that you try to run away from, or it makes you like the person that's the oppressor, or it makes you like the person who's a racist, because you don't wake up from your ignorance and really put a foot down when you should. And with the Nature Boy thing, it's kind of like how can you be out here doing the thing, trying to lead the people and trying to spit information, but yet you're doing things so sinister, and it's on camera. So it's not even like you can say these are things that were going on in his private life that came to view in the light because he got exposed. No, those are things, and I'm just trying to figure out why my lights on my car are still on and the shit was on auto. That's stupid. So it's things that you're doing because you want them to be out. You just don't care. And for anybody to follow that or be involved and not say, no, we expect more from people who proclaim to be our leaders, because let's not act like there aren't levels to shit. You know what I mean? The punishment, and this is what I say, you end up becoming what you claim you don't want to be, or what you end up becoming what you claim is oppressing you. The jail sentence or the criminal punishment for somebody who sold a pound of weed or grams or keys of weed, whatever. I know it's keys of coke, but I guess they talk about weed in pounds. I don't know. But the punishment for a person who sold pounds of weed and somebody who murdered somebody, I'm not talking about self-defense. I'm not talking about anything like that. You got somebody abusing you and you had to kill them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just murderers, people who take people's life. The punishment shouldn't be the same. Because when you talk about ethics and morality, there's a difference. And if you can't see that, then you don't need to follow anybody. You need to work on your own spiritual ascension and read your own books, and don't get on YouTube or any other source and listen to regurgitated information, because your something inside of you is blocked and you can't understand and you can't see. So that's the point what I'm making when you don't know when you don't have any level of discernment. You know what I mean? But like I said, I could give a shit about either two of those people in the public eye, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And certain things are just not cool certain things are just not cool. So if it comes to Pharaoh having this inflated ego versus Nasta, that's see, y'all know I'm an empath. Into it, I read cards, semi-psychic, all that shit, and you heard me about to say nasty, like almost say nasty boy, and I didn't even mean to say that because it's not about my personal opinion. But if it's if it's Pharaoh's inflated ego versus nature boy getting finger popped, then come on, one is definitely more of a problem than the other. You know what I'm saying? And then you're talking about people who actually try to lead a community, and that's what nature boy is trying to do. And the thing about it, what you have to realize is nature boy is a Taurus. And I don't know, the Tauruses are great. I love my Tauruses. I'm partial to Tauruses. I've had many Tauruses in my life as friends, as more than friends, things like that. So there are great things that I can say about Taurus, but that shit's in another video, or will be another video. That ain't this video. So if you're looking for that, you might want to go ahead and click off now. He's a Taurus, and you could tell he's a lower level Taurus. And let me tell you about a lower level Taurus. A lower level Taurus, and like I always say, guys, you have to look and pay attention to the sign that is opposite the sign you're talking about, because that is going to tell you everything about that sign's shadow side when they're operating at a lower nature that you need to know. So if you're looking at a lower level Taurus, you need to be thinking about a low level Scorpio and some of that kind of behavior. That is what a Taurus is going to demonstrate. So when we talk about a Taurus, we already know they're ruled by Venus. So and I'm not going to keep saying low level. I've said it several times, so you should get the point that through the rest of this conversation about this topic, I'm talking about low level Tauruses. I'm not talking about Tauruses who are operating at a higher level, who are more ascended. I'm talking about low level Tauruses, and that's the last time I'm going to say it. So when you have someone like that, what you see on the outside is not what you get on the inside. The mask, they wear a mask. The person they show you is not the person they really are deep down inside. And this is playing out so surreal with nature boy that it's not even funny, because what he shows you is not who he is, and that is what you will see with the Taurus. So, and with that Venus, if they're not operating at a higher level, you have a perversion. You have a perverse individual, because Taurus, I believe Taurus, if I'm not mistaken, Taurus is it's a feminine sign because it's got that ruler of Venus. So you have that perversion. And a lot of times, if you talk to a lot of people who are seasoned astrologers and things like that, that they may tend to tell you, which I do tend to agree, that Libra and Taurus can be two signs that may be prone to homosexuality or prone to being gay because they have that Venus. And Venus makes you almost have that hermaphrodite type of mindset, because you have this equilibrium where you see both things on like a same level, and there's no separation of the sexes almost. And or it can play into a way where they're so sensual because of having this Venus that they're over sensual, they're over sexualized, so they take it overboard. So like with a Taurus, you may find there's some Tauruses who eat too much, or they may smoke too much, or they may drink too much, or they may have this homosexual behavior, or they have sex addictions and things like that, because it is the lower level, it is the lower nature of Venus. It is that exploitative nature of Venus, where that character is exploited and it's overcompensated for to hide some sort of insecurity. So when you think of a Taurus that's operating from a low level, you want to think of some of the devious behaviors of Scorpio. And Scorpio rules the sex organs and things like that. So that's what you want to think of when you think of the nature of a low level Taurus. So the thing that happened with Nature Boy, it doesn't surprise me. And it's specifically this video with the guy finger popping him, because Scorpio rules the anus, the genitalia, those areas like that. And with him operating at this low level, his opposite sign is totally kicking in the devious behavior. Scorpio, and I have a close Scorpio girlfriend, and we are sisters in astrology. We always talk about astrology. And a lot of times I call her, getting to know Scorpios really well. I've had Scorpio friends in the past, but they were lower level Scorpios, so they were good to party with certain things, but it wasn't a person that I could really keep it be around and really have close to me, because they were in that devious nature. But I always tell my Scorpio friend, in the best way, that they're strategists. Like, I think of Scorpio as a sign of the strategist. They're very strategic. They get the small details to like get the whole picture. They're very intelligent, but they do it by combining information. It'll take a Scorpio sort of a while sometimes to put this master plan together, but when they do it, they're brilliant. You know what I mean? Because they're a strategist. So if you want to talk about a low-level Taurus, they're very strategic in hiding and masking what it is that they want to mask. So they may show you an outer persona that is not a representative of what's going on with that Taurus at all. So if that comes to like their secret behaviors, so they can have a whole nother thing going on because of that lower nature. But if you know Taurus and you know to key in, because they're intuitive as well, so they pick up on these cues. Like I said, they're the opposite sign of Scorpio. Scorpio's a water sign, and Scorpios are very intuitive, and Tauruses are too. So you got to pay attention, and just, you never let one. You always got to have your plan and not fall in to believing in a Taurus, and a perfect example, Nature Boy, because what he's doing in his private life and what he's doing personally, trust me, is not what he's showing you on that camera. It's just not. And that is exemplified, and I'm going to close this up and then we'll get to the readings. That is exemplified by the fact that you did these things on camera. So what it should tell you, and again, like I said, Tauruses will tend to, like I said, they'll have certain issues, drinking issues, sexual issues. They have things, but you would never know from the outside. But here's the key. Taurus thinks nobody knows, but people who are cued in, they know. And these are things, even in my own personal relationships and my own personal life, it's like, and you just kind of got to let situations play out, because Tauruses can be good people. They have a heart. They'll be there for you. They can be a rock, but it's a whole lot of other shit that comes with that. So you kind of got to make your plan around the Taurus and kind of let the Taurus do what they're going to do and show themselves in the end. You can't force them to do it, because they'll keep that mask on forever. They really, really will. And what makes it so bad is the fact, like I said, that Nature Boy did these things outright. He didn't do them in privacy. He wasn't getting finger popped in his own home with no cameras on. You're doing these things in front of the camera, which tells you that his goal has always been to either be some sort of celebrity, be on camera, or come up financially. So when you translate that over to the quote unquote conscious music, or this following that he has, or going back to nature and leaving Babylon, you got to ask yourself, is that really what's in his heart, or is that his way to fame? Is that his way to success? Tauruses also have a controlling nature about them. There's a control there with it. So even though they're not fit to be in control, they want to control, but it's not the leader that you want to follow. Again, in my own personal experience, I've experienced that. There are a lot of good things about Taurus, and some exalted ones you may want to follow. Louis Farrakhan is a Taurus. And even he, I can't follow him. He has some good information. Farrakhan says a lot of things that are great, but when you really look at it, no, it's not a person I can follow. Malcolm X was a Taurus. I think Malcolm X is a Taurus. And he had some good things about him too. Of course, he had some other things, but the information is great. So there's some great things about them. They are smart. They have good information, but sometimes they're not the person you want to follow because they don't have what it takes to truly be, that leader because of those shortcomings and those downfalls, which get so perverse. It's like there's a level. It's just levels to it. A motherfucker can make some mistakes, but some shit is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? And that's unacceptable. And it's not about being gay. That's not the issue. It's about the things you do on camera and that are going to be out there to the world, but then years later you're a spiritual guru. No, a spiritual guru is somebody who the same person they are in front of people is the same person they are when they're by themselves. I try to live my life, not making this about me, but I'm just saying this is something that I consciously do in my life. I try to make sure the shit I do when I'm alone that nobody else can see. It sounds like masturbation and shit like that. It's the same person I am when I'm in the public and people can see. So I try not to do shit and have actions when I'm alone and you think nobody is watching that I know is not who I'm representing myself to be to other people, or no shit I would do in public. And I kind of tell myself, if this is not nothing that you would do in public, then don't do it in private. You know what I'm saying? And if you actually have the balls to do some real low level shit like that in public and turn into a spiritual guru, and people are following you even after seeing that. And at first when I saw it, I knew in my heart it was him, and I liked him. I didn't have no issue with Nature Boy. He's an attractive guy. Tauruses usually are attractive to me. Again, the Venus signs are some of the most attractive signs. I would say Libra is probably more attractive than Taurus for the most part, but Libra and Tauruses are two signs that I'm attracted to. They are attractive signs. It's just, you can't say a Venus sign is not attractive. And I'm not that this is not going to run for everybody, y'all. It might be other shit in the chart, because the birth charts and planets and signs, it's a combination. Like, you got to have several factors to really do it for you. It's not just looking at one element like, oh, that's it. Y'all, it's raining so hard, I don't even want to get out the car. But you can't just look at one element like, oh, that's it. It's a combination of factors. So with the Taurus, they can be attractive and things like that. So I thought he was attractive. I didn't have no issue with Nature Boy. He sounded like he was spitting some shit, and if he wanted to lead a country, go somewhere else and start your own nature movement, that was great. But then I knew something was funky when I was like, well, why are they shitting with no toilet paper and all of that? This ain't what people have to understand is you can't go back. We not in no old days and no old times. We don't live in huts. This is not before the invention of toilets and toilet paper and shit like that. Like, it's just certain shit that's unnecessary, and people doing it because they have something's wrong with them and they have a need for control and they want this following, but they're not even righteous within themselves. So I didn't have no issue with him, and when I saw the tape, I knew in my heart it was him, but I wasn't gonna really say nothing. I'm not spreading that to people because I just couldn't tell for sure looking at him if it was him. I knew it was him because of my instincts, but I couldn't tell if looking at him if that was him. And then he had a video where he admitted it. So there's no question about it. There's no discrepancy about it, you guys. So you really gotta watch what you do and just stop being stupid. Going forward, this is the year 2018 is the year of stop being stupid. I'm telling y'all, it's got to be the year of stop being stupid, because everybody's getting exposed, especially around these eclipses. You got Rick Ross baby mama been exposing him for the last year or so. Boosie baby mama done came out, start exposing him. Stevie J, even though he done married Faith, Scorpio, and Gemini, even though he done married Faith, and his people, everybody coming out and exposing him, saying he like men, but they were saying that for a long time, but now it's really coming out. I mean, this is the year of stop being stupid. I coined this the year of stop being fucking stupid. 2018, the rest of 2018, 2019, the years of stop being stupid. All right, guys, on to the readings.